One moment, she was Sue Richards, devoted wife, mother, and teammate. The next, she was Malice, a ruthless, leather-clad assassin with one mission: destroy the Fantastic Four. But from the darkest depths of her mind, Sue would emerge not just restored, but transformed forever into the Invisible Woman. The story begins at the empty lot where the Baxter Building once stood. Reed Richards explains to a police officer that the building was hurled into space and destroyed by someone pretending to be Doom, and that the team only survived thanks to Sue's force field. Emotions run high when a deli owner laments the loss of his store and the only picture of his late wife, and tensions explode as a police officer assaults him. When Wyatt intervenes, he's struck by the officer's nightstick, prompting She-Hulk to step in. Reed urges her not to resist arrest, and both she and Wyatt are taken away. The crowd grows hostile. A brick is hurled toward Alicia Masters, pushing Johnny Storm to flame on in anger, which only fuels the mob's aggression. Sue raises a force field to hold them back. The team splits. Johnny takes Reed to Avengers Mansion, while Sue turns invisible to escort Alicia home. Watching from the shadows are the Hatemonger and his master, Psycho Man. In disguise as Reed, Hatemonger moves to intercept Sue. The city is in chaos. Hate pamphlets circulate, infecting minds with rage. Hatemonger and Psycho Man gloat over their control, and over Sue Richards, now transformed into Malice, Mistress of Hate. Without hesitation, she sets out to kill her former teammates. Reed and Johnny, unaware of Sue's condition, investigate the pamphlets at Avengers Mansion. Meanwhile, She-Hulk is broken out of the police van, attacked and beaten by Malice, stunned by the ferocity. On the mansion's rooftop, Reed's work is interrupted when Malice strikes. She uses her powers in terrifying ways, cutting off Johnny's oxygen mid-flight, forcing him to plummet, and overwhelming Reed with invisible assaults. Daredevil intervenes, confirming a force field around their attacker. When Malice unmasks herself, Johnny pleads with his sister, only for her to knock him out cold. Reed realizes her emotions have been inverted. Love turned to pure hatred. To break Psycho Man's hold, he goads her, saying cruel things until her rage peaks. In that moment, he slaps her, and the control shatters. Sue collapses in tears, finally free, and vows revenge against Psycho Man. Franklin Richards has a nightmare of destruction, alien attacks, and the power pack urging him to find them. He rushes to tell his parents, interrupting a tense debate. Reed insists they focus on the Beyonder, but Sue demands they go after Psycho Man. Her voice is sharp, with urgency, brimming with pent-up frustration from being pushed to the background too many times before. She explains that becoming Malice wasn't just a moment of corruption. It was a profound violation of her identity and her very soul. The experience left scars she cannot ignore, a constant reminder of how she was twisted against the people she loves. For Sue, this mission is not about strategy or timing. It is about reclaiming what was stolen from her, confronting the manipulator who did it, and proving to herself that she will never again be sidelined or silenced when it matters most. Reed, recognizing the weight of her trauma, agrees to follow her lead into the Microverse. Before departure, Johnny privately voices concern over Sue's mental state, recalling her past grief after the loss of their second child. Reed acknowledges the difference. This is a wound that calls for action, not retreat, and stresses the need for united support. With determination set, the team boards the Reducto car, shrinking into the Microverse and hurtling toward the confrontation Sue has demanded. Their descent into the Microverse is turbulent, ending in a crash landing on an unfamiliar planetoid. Reed remains visibly distracted, his mind still partly on the Beyonder, but the urgency of their mission against Psycho Man demands focus. Johnny takes to the skies to scout ahead, his flame, a beacon against the alien terrain. But in an instant, he is seized by an enormous pair of tweezers and trapped inside a containment cylinder. Before his prison can be sealed, Johnny manages to launch a brilliant signal, flare, into the sky. The flare draws Sue, Reed, and She-Hulk to his location, but the rescue attempt is cut short when they too are overwhelmed by Psycho Man's forces. They awaken to find themselves captives of the villain himself, his colossal form towering over them. Without hesitation, Psycho Man unleashes his emotion-manipulating technology, projecting intense fear directly into Sue's mind. She is forced to watch horrifying visions of her family's deaths, the psychological assault striking at her deepest vulnerabilities and echoing the trauma of her time as Malice. Meanwhile, She-Hulk is dragged away and enslaved in a brutal mining operation, where she meets Perla, a dethroned monarch. Perla reveals that the ore they are extracting is the key to resisting Psycho Man's mind control. Now split apart, the Fantastic Four must endure both physical imprisonment and relentless psychological warfare, with Sue once again the primary target of the man who once twisted her soul into darkness. Reed engineers a daring escape, timing each move to coincide with She-Hulk's covert sabotage in the mines. Every action is deliberate, disabling locks, creating diversions, as they work toward the same end from different fronts. As Reed searches, his sense of doubt begins to increase, until the Psycho Man reveals himself and the fact that he's been using his control box on him the whole time. Suddenly, the box slips out of Psycho Man's hands by Sue, who reveals that she had been invisibly following her husband after deducing his doubts were caused by their foe. Sue then pins the Psycho Man with her powers and chastises him for using his device to violate her emotionally, and that she is going to punish him for what he has done. When Psycho Man asks if she is going to kill him, Sue tells him that she intends to pay him back in kind for what he has done. Elsewhere, Johnny is racing through the facility when suddenly She-Hulk and Perla come smashing through the door. Their happy reunion is cut short when they suddenly hear a blood-curdling scream. When they try to find the source, they run into Reed and Sue. Sue informs them that the Psycho Man has gotten what he deserves and won't threaten anyone again. From victim to victor, Sue's battle with her own darkness proves that the greatest strength is often forged in the mind. This was the moment she stepped fully into her power, and the Marvel Universe would never underestimate her again. The measure of a hero is not in the power they wield, but in the courage to rise after they've fallen. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Who do you want to see us cover next? Let us know below. Your suggestion might be our next feature.